Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants.
I'm Sandy Kreisberg, the HBSGuru.
And we're here with another edition of Handicapping Your MBA Odds. Today we have a rather unusual candidate, someone who actually already has an MBA degree and wants a second one. He's 27 years of age. He's a management consultant in India. He actually started out as someone in IT for a year and then went to financial services as an analyst for a year. Before
IT, business school,
yes.
Financial services, and then he said he works for a consulting company that's a major feeder firm.
Yes.
To business schools.
Business schools.
So, a real important question is...
Which one?
Yeah, which one?
Yeah.
Right. If he's working, it sounds like Big Four.
Or I'm guessing Accenture. I don't know why. I just have that feel.
Ain't they a Big Four?
No. Mm-mm.
Wow.
Anyway, he has a 730 GMAT. Pretty impressive, but not impressive enough for him because he's actually going to retake it, hoping to get a 750. In a second-tier engineering school in India, he graduated in the top 3% of his class. And in a business school in India, which he says is in the top 5, he graduated within the top 15% of his class. Now his goal, or his reason for getting another MBA degree on top of the one that he already has, he wants to basically get into a learning environment with a much more diverse set of people with the goal of learning more about social entrepreneurship. This guy is a poet and a quant, given his background and his education. He also is involved in as a coach for a weightlifting team, and he's been a model
weightlifter.
And he's been a singer. So we have a poet and quant who wants a second MBA from India. The other thing is he has an interesting personal life story. He grew up with a single parent, a mother, in a rural setting in India. All of his schooling so far has been by scholarship, apparently because he's from a humble background. So what do you say about this guy?
Let me cut to the chase, okay? Reason for second MBA, I wish to get some profound education. Stop right there. Is that good or bad?
Well, that's because you're so cynical about the MBA, even though you help kids get into business school.
Yeah, cynical and experienced, yeah. I wish to get some profound education learning in social entrepreneurship, a kind of education I couldn't get from my earlier education. But he doesn't say he wants to be a social entrepreneur.
Right.
His stated reason for the second MBA is that he wants to take 2 years off, spend whatever it is, $500,000, and it gets them from profound education in social entrepreneurship. So my first piece of advice is don't say that, okay? There's a lot going on here, but you can boil it down to something that's pretty simple. There are a lot of people there's a class of people who get an MBA in India and then want an American MBA for just reasons of upgrading their employment, higher status, whatever.
Right.
There's a way to package that. It's recognized, and I would join that. This is a case where the trend is your friend. I would say the Indian MBA was technical. What this guy should say, and what anyone with an Indian MBA should say who wants to get an American MBA is, I want to learn about leadership and strategy. The Indian MBA was when I was very young. It was technically focused, and I want to be an impactful leader. For this guy, I would stick to what he's doing now, which is management consulting. I want to be an impactful management consultant in India or internationally or in Asia. An American MBA could expand my horizons when it comes to leadership, strategy, and international networking. Put that in a nice way.
Right.
So this guy's trying a little too hard.
We also know his story, right? We've seen a lot of him, meaning Indian IT, goes to an engineering school, does IT for a year or so, hates it. He doesn't say that in here,
Yeah,
but this is what this profile reads. He tried it, he hated it, he immediately got out of it, he became a financial analyst at a financial services firm. He got this MBA hoping it would remove him further from the IT field, and then he becomes a management consultant. So in essence, that Indian MBA did get him out of IT.
Right. This is a case in India where things are very stratified. This guy, it sounds like a really smart guy, either because of the fact he was poor or single family or under-resourced environment while growing up, to put it in a politically correct fashion, somehow missed the IIT or even second-tier Indian schools, and he's presenting himself as an outsider.
Yeah.
And he might in fact be an outsider within the inner world of the Indian hierarchy. He might be a class 2 in terms of schooling and background and everything else, and he's trying to break into
class 1.
Class 1, which is fine. Just my advice is get the chip off your shoulder, get more savvy about how to present yourself, and if you can get a 750 GMAT,
that's pretty valuable.
Well, as a rule, I don't recommend retaking a 720, but it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
This has become a theme in these presentations, but unfortunately, for reasons I'll expand upon at some other taping, the GMAT has become, due to the fecklessness and spinelessness of the MBA administrative community, the GMAT has become much more important than it ever has been.
Or should be.
That might be true too, but I'm sticking with has been, which is certain. It's hypocritical of them, the way that they value their GMAT on the one hand, and the kind of sermonette speechifying they put out about what they're looking for. There's a tremendous hypocrisy between those two.
I got to say, for a guy like this who made a quick exit from IT, to have graduated in the top 3% of his class in India, at a school where he basically didn't have to pay for his education because he was perceived to be good enough to go to whatever school he went to on full scholarship, is pretty impressive, frankly.
Okay, so then he says, he goes, I'm looking for some advice on the choice of schools. Which schools am I competitive for? Which ones are stretches? Okay. Harvard and Stanford are stretches because they got enough Indians without your problems, okay? I just don't know how to say it any other way. There's a lot of Indians who ain't got no problems. They're what they call, they were firstborn, not secondborn. You're a classic secondborn case where you've got to figure stuff out. Things don't come naturally to you. You've been figuring out the world. That can make for a very powerful personality in the fullness of time. But in the fullness of Harvard and Stanford admissions, that's a reach, okay? You get the 750 GMAT, or even with the 720, Wharton is Harvard and Stanford you're not getting in. Wharton is an acceptable reach, okay? And then if you present yourself correctly, you do your homework. I don't usually say this, but either educate yourself or hire a consultant, just to what do they call that? Baseline you or harmonize you or get you in sync with what counts in this game. If you did that, you'd be a natural fit at places ranked. I don't think you're getting into it. You might get, MIT is an acceptable reach. After that, whatever we're talking about, 5 through 10 at U.S. News or 5 through 10 at Poets.
You know, he actually says he has a preference for the one-year program at Kellogg, which, you know, they like people who already have a business degree. He's got this MBA. It's an accelerated program. The stats for that program are similar to the, you know, full-time 2-year. And it's the most prestigious one-year MBA program in the United States.
That might work.
Yeah.
You know where people wind up? Is that for career switchers or job switchers, or is that for people just
it's mainly
papering?
It's generally not for a career switcher, because you lose the option to have a full summer internship. Instead, you're in school. Yeah.
But if this guy wants to work for a big 3 consulting company, do they hire out of that program? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't know. But the fact that he's in management consulting certainly helps. But again, that goes back to this GMAT. He's going to get he's got a 730. He's in the game.
Yeah, he's in the running.
He's in the game. And he's got a good personal story.
You know, if he could get his almost clothing, you know, this guy's not wearing the right clothes, you know. If someone could say to, you know, what you need is a pair of gray slacks and a blue blazer and a nice shirt.
You're sending this guy to Brooks Brothers?
Like John here. Yeah, I'm sending him to the John Byrne closet. If he could get that part of his story correct, he'd be attractive because of the tech background.
Right.
So McKinsey or BCG or Bain might say, yeah, we could put this guy on tech cases.
Yeah. So
that's how things could come true.
So odds at a Kellogg, what would you say they are?
30%, 40%, 30 or 40%.
Yeah. And what would you say for Wharton? 20? High GMAT.
It's just too much. Wharton has a lot of high-performing DESIs.
Yeah.
They don't need trouble.
Okay.
He'd have to really This is true, you know, this is a life cliche, but it also works in this context. People don't like complex cases. This is what people tell you about doctors. You know, people think, oh, I'm going to go to a doctor. I've got these complex symptoms, and you could write about me for a medical journal, you know?
Right.
Doctors don't like complex cases. Doctors like cases that they know what the cure is, and they can give you that cure, charge you whatever it is, and send you happily on your way. Business schools don't like complex cases either. If this guy could simplify his story, that would be the best way to get into Kellogg.
Yeah. Although, you got to remember here, this is a guy...
I'm sorry, Wharton.
Yeah, you got to remember, this is a guy, Indian IT, and he escaped IT, which takes him out of the IT pile, which is one of the big problems with Indian applicants from India.
I don't know. What does he say he's doing now? Does he say he's doing strategy
Management consulting, yeah. Strategy and operations.
That is, strategy and operations is often ITE.
Yeah. Yeah, and if it's for Accenture, it's true.
I'll be happy to sit corrected.
Yeah, right. What other school should he apply to? Are we looking at someone like Duke, Darden?
Sure. You know, and the one-year Kellogg program.
Yeah.
He's got to do a little homework. Has anyone ever graduated? And maybe people could help us here. Do people graduate from the Kellogg one-year program and manage to transition into McKinsey, Bain, BCG?
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
If that's what he wants to do.
I would think if they had a previous management consulting background, they would
yeah, they might.
They'd buy it, I think.
Yeah, they might.
Especially from Kellogg.
Right.
Which is the consulting school, incidentally.
Sure. Good point.
All right. Well, good luck to you. We think you're going to get in someplace, and someplace good. You've got a great GMAT, and you got a great story to tell. I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. May your MBA dreams come true.